What's up guys, Johnny Cooper here, and the official trailer for Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time was revealed at Summer Game Fest. The game looked gorgeous, and I'm glad after 12 years we finally get a new installment in the series. With the success of the Insane trilogy, Activision said, why not just continue after the third installment since fans like the Naughty Dog trilogy, restarting everything with the Insane trilogy and Nitro, taking the new game straight after Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. In this new modern timeline, as said by Activision, rewinding time back to the end of Crash Bandicoot Warped, Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time picks up after Neo Cortex, Entropy, and Uka Uka were last stranded on a distant planet. After decades of fruitless attempts, the trio finally makes their escape, ripping an evil scientist-sized hole in the fabric of space and time in the process. Now all that stands between them and a total domination over the multiverse are two fuzzy marsupials from Insanity Island, along with another description right here for the heroes, which is Crash is relaxing and exploring his island in his time at 1998 when he finds a mysterious mask hiding away in a cave. Lani Loli, the mask is one of the quantum masks and apparently knows Aku Aku, Crash's mask friend. With the quantum masks returning and the quantum rift appearing near our heroes, they decide to bravely head through different times and dimensions to stop whoever is responsible. So Uka Uka and Cortex and Entropy have escaped the dimension they were in during the true ending of Crash 3, and in doing so they cause dimensions and time crashing each other. So you can basically think of the plot of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's a more in-depth story of Warp's time travel storyline, but they're taking it steps further by having alternative dimensions since Cortex and Entropy tear a hole in the multiverse. Crash and Coco will need help, so they go and reunite the four quantum masks, which are these characters right here. Each of them have their own unique power ability, along with giving Crash Bandicoot and Coco badass suits to them that features a resemblance towards whatever mask you get. Like the green one named Ika Ika, I think Ika Ika, something like that, can make Crash / Coco go upside down and is basically the gravity mask, while the white mask named Kupuna Wa will help you stop the flow of time for a bit, like if you touch a nitro crate, which kills you instantly when playing it normal, but with this ability you get to have time to touch it and leave before it reacts and explodes, which is actually very awesome. Along with getting to places that are moving very fast, especially dangerous items or characters, you use the ability to slow it down and go through these platformers very easily. We do not know what the other two masks do, but we do know the blue one, which is named Lani Loli, which in my previous video I thought it was the white mask, but it turns out it was the green one. Blue one I mean, can be seen to act very scared and cowardish, and I like how they're going to have their own personalities like this.
How many times have you beaten this clown anyway?
3.
Really? Only 3? Funny. Seemed like more.
Which of course acknowledges that Crash and Coco only defeated Cortex 3 times since this takes place after Warp, but he says it seems like they defeated him more times, which actually acknowledges the other games like Twinsanity, Might Never Mutant, Titans, and Wrath of Cortex. So I like these 4 powers we will be getting, as it finds a way to make the game very unique from the original trilogy. The gameplay is taken from the OG trilogy but is expanded by making the levels more expansive and less corridor-like, which by the gameplay reminds me of Skylanders, Imaginators, and Titans by the camera angle, and the gameplay being much more wider and able to walk more freely, while some segments are 2D scrollers like the bonus levels we saw in the OG trilogy. And I guess you can take Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for example as well. It also includes parkour like running through walls, sliding through rails and different objects, and swinging through ropes like Nathan Drake, and using the quantum masks to do much more. You can also still double jump, keeping the same ability as you did in Warp. We will not get to choose our own levels like you did in Crash 2 or Warp, you know, like having a warp room. Instead, we will get to see the return of the Crash 1 linear map, where you go to level by level in order as you go on, in order to give the story much more focus, since the game is more storytelling than the previous counterparts, which is what they're going for. The game's levels are said to be as hard as High Road, which from the gameplay it definitely seems like it, because you have to do a lot of parkour stuff, and I like that. Also, there's 2 modes we get to choose in game, which is modern or retro mode. The modern is where you get to die as many times as you want in the game until you beat the level, while retro gives you the classic experience where you have limited lives and a game over screen. They will also bring the way you collect certain gems like in Crash 1, where you can't die in order to collect them. Also, Wumpa fruits have a count meter now, so it seems like you have to collect all the Wumpa fruits in order to receive something special. Now, what's with the change of art style? Well, according to them, Toys for Bob is excited to introduce a fresh visual direction for Crash that maintains the zany spirit of the franchise while also breathing unique personality personality and charm into it. Fans can expect wacky new worlds, lush epic vistas, and an absurd variety of enemies and hazards. So that's the reason why they're going for. And I know I might get hate for this, but I think Nightfield was a definitive art style to use for the Crash series onwards. It was a 1-to-1 modern version of Crash with detailed fur, and now they're changing the art style for this game by making it look like Reignited Trilogy. Why not stick to one art style and just go with it? Especially since we already got Insane Trilogy, which starts a new timeline, and this is a sequel to that. I mean, I don't mind a game looking like this in the future, but right after those two games, I mean, I just wish they kept it coherent, because I know they will keep changing the art style, not sticking to one when they keep changing developers, all while, you know, of course, being handled by Activision. Like, if another Crash game is made by Vicarious Visions again, I think it will be going back to the Insane's design. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but let me know your thoughts on the comments. But I do like this art style, though, they went for. It will have some time to getting used to, but it is a weird change after those two games. Crash's design is a mixture of his Twinsanity and Skylanders look, while Cortex is a mixture of his classic and Titans design, while Coco is her Titans and Mind Over Mutant design. So you can see her goggles. Engine, who looks way much better here than he does in the Insane Trilogy, you know, because he looks more like his classic look. I love this design so much because it just feels like his classic 2D design is brought to modern life. Now back into the story, with it being basically a Bandiverse, we will get to see alternative versions of existing characters, like Tana Bandicoot, for example, who has shown in this Crash merchandise by Numbskull, and this picture of her. So Tana has a blue mohawk and a more punk look. We might also possibly get Nina or possibly Crunch as well, along with brand new characters. As seen in this image, we have an alternative reality version of Dr. Entropy, who seems to be more of a realistic female counterpart of him. I actually like this take on this character. Of course, we'll see Entropy in the game since he and Cortex are the main antagonists causing this whole chaos. However, it might be possible that Entropy is the real final main antagonist of this one, due to Cortex being playable in this game. Yep, you heard it here. New playable characters. Fans can play as Crash or Coco on their journey to save the multiverse, and new playable characters, including the Fiendish Neo Cortex, will emerge to provide an alternative perspective on our heroes, Bandicoot's quest to defeat their nefarious nemesis. So Crash and Coco will have the same moveset as they did in Insane Trilogy, with of course new features, which are wall running, rail grinding, and rope swinging, discovering new ways to platform and process through these exciting levels, and the double jump. While Cortex, on the other hand, will have a different moveset. He can't double jump, but his jetpack allows him to do a mid-air dash to cover greater distances and zapping enemies out with his ray gun, along with stunning them and using them as a makeshift platforms along with objects as seen in the trailer. Cortex is not a hero like in Twinsanity. In here, we will see him stop Crash and Coco from succeeding, sort of like Ellie versus Abby in The Last of Us 2. So now we get to play as the main antagonist while also playing as the main protagonist. It also says we are playing as more new playable characters other than Crash, Coco, and Cortex, which I know for a fact that one will be an alternative version of Tana, since the way she swings from a rope, which is something we can do in the game, is shown in this image. We also see Dingodile, who looks very savage in here. But Johnny, who's this fella right here? Well, this actually seems like a new mask, because we see over here we have the 4 quantum masks. Actually, we only see 3 masks. The other one, which helps us guide throughout the game, the blue mask, is not here. So we get this other mask, which shows like a two-face type of mask. I don't know if this is spoilers. I don't know if this is actually the blue mask that helps us, you know, and then he ends up betraying us and becomes like a main villain, which won't be very epic at all. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully this is actually just a brand new main antagonist, and I guess the overarching antagonist of this game, where, you know, you get to use all your powers probably at the end to fight this guy. Either this mask right here is helping out a Cortex, or, you know, maybe he is and then he betrays Cortex and then you play as Crash and Cortex at the ending. According to the PlayStation Store, we get to play 2 through 4 multiplayer in the game offline, which makes me think of the rumor where this game is basically like Mario 3D World, and you can play as Crash, Coco, Tana, and possibly Crunch all at the same time with your friends. While with Cortex's story, it's maybe just Cortex, Entropy, Nina, or Dingodile, all 4 players as well. We can see the beautiful settings we have in the trailer, which we already have names for, and the name of these levels are Snowy Cavern, a Pirate Bay, Feudal Japan, Colorful Seabed, Prehistoric Volcano Grounds, a Futuristic Metropolis, a European looking Night City, and a Gasmoxian Space Station, because we find a Oxide looking like creature in here. So we might even get Oxide Darkseid himself in this game as a boss battle. The game looks very promising, honestly. It has a lot of action-packed moments, like the ending of the trailer where Crash is escaping the monster with the blue mask, which leads to the game being in total of $60, available to pre-order now, and you get a totally tubular skins only in digital format, which looks okay. So pre-order the game now, only available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. No Switch or PC port yet. They might be doing it like the Insane Trilogy and Reignited Trilogy, where you have to wait a whole year for the Switch port and PC port. So what do you guys think of this game? Do you guys like the designs? Do you guys like the story? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.